and welcome back for another episode of 9 Yards TV, brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate. I'm so excited for today's episode because you're going to get the skinny here that you're not going to actually get from your typical business school. And yet the business schools all agree that you need it. And that's your soft skills that complement your technical expertise. A recent study by University of Michigan, Boston College, and Harvard University actually found that companies can increase their return on investment by 256% just by improving soft skills training in their businesses. And that comes from a better level of professionalism as well as higher employee retention. So let's better understand this critical component to owning your business. To do so, I'm joined today by entrepreneur Dr. Obakeng Mfikwe of KMF Farm Holdings, as well as Bryan Hattingh, CEO of Cycan. Bryan, Obakeng, welcome to 9 Yards TV. Thank you so much for joining us.
Mfikwe, really nice to meet you. Obakeng, likewise.
Nice to meet you as well, Bryan. Good day to both of you.
Good day. Obakeng, let's kick off with your side of the business. What exactly does KMF Farm Holdings do?
So KMF Farm Holdings is a mixed farming operation. We are in poultry. We grow broiler chickens, and we also have beef cattle, stud cattle, as well as we plant crops. We plant 1,200 hectares of crops.
That's quite a range of businesses, quite apart from diversity in the teams and diversity in the products that you provide. I imagine in order to get the profitability from a business of that nature, there are a lot of hard technical skills that one must be able to do to succeed. But what are 3 soft skills that you've had to apply in learning on your business journey?
The first one is always going to be leadership. You have to give your business crisp leadership that's very clearly defined in terms of what you'd like to achieve. The second one is being able to communicate as clearly and as simply as possible to everyone within the business. And then I think the final one is to be as collaborative as possible.
Bryan, let's bring you in here. Through Cycan, who are the exponential leadership group, do you think that those kinds of skills that we've just heard from Obakeng are the kinds that are reflected in the kinds of businesses that you work with?
Most certainly. I think what's most important is the whole issue of self-leadership. And self-leadership applies regardless of your position. All managers should be leaders. Sadly, they aren't. Not all leaders need to be managers. And it's about having that self-awareness of who am I as a leader of self before I'm a leader of others and organizations, which then speaks to also intentionality. Branson put it beautifully. He said, true entrepreneurs never set out to make money. They set out to do something nobody's ever done before, do it better than anybody else. And as a consequence of that, they make money. So the intentionality must be to serve and to add value. What is the world asking of me right now, or asking of us right now, rather than what am I asking of the world? There's a lovely saying that says, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So we're living in times where empathy and compassion are really important, and having a heart to serve, not just having a heart to sell.
I'd like to understand a little bit more here. There's a study by McKinsey that suggests that you can get 15% more profitability out of an executive team that is more diverse. South Africa has that to its benefit. It's a highly diverse country across languages, age, and the like. Obakeng, would you say that in a small business or in a business of your company size, that the profitability impact of diversity is also true in that sense?
Most certainly. If you think about it, if you have 10 people in a room that have grown up with the same experience, what is important to them will pretty much be very uniform. And I think for me, in my business, I do my best also to get as many people who look at life from a different angle to myself, because then we're not all focusing on exactly the same type of angle.
The flip side of collaboration and diversity, of course, is tension. I think there's another saying that goes, make sure you're listening to understand, not to respond, which is very similar to what he mentioned just now. What would you say was a soft skill that you had to lean on at a point of tension in your experience, Obakeng?
You can have a really valid point, but if you present it in a very aggressive manner, in a way that doesn't quite tap into the timing of when the point is made, how it's made, to who it's made, and who in fact actually brings the point forward. So, I think empathy is always a very key soft skill to be able to bring into a very diverse community.
I love that this has come up from both of your answers, empathy. And you mentioned earlier, Bryan, compassion as well. So I'm wondering, as the world becomes far more automated, from AI to robotics, and many of those hard skills become more machinated, will these kinds of soft skills become ever more important going forward to run a business?
Absolutely. I think that what we've got to move to in the world that we're in is to celebrate the differences, not fear the differences. I think people, they start from a point of fear of what they don't know, and as a consequence, they close up. Vulnerability is such an important thing, being transparent, and very importantly, to ask rather than tell. Let's find out about each other. Let's talk about each other. Let's bring the things into the room. And we found that with our experience in working across enormously diverse spaces. Canada, for example, is an incredibly diverse country. And being able to see how these people step up and transcend what were areas of fear and areas of delineation, it suddenly becomes one where we become we rather than a group of us and them. And I think that's so important, particularly as the world becomes a smaller and smaller place. And we've got to be able to listen to and respond to the needs and the differences of others, and importantly, their learnings and the lenses that they look at the world through.
Bryan, Cycan is a global company. You've worked across the world in terms of your leadership engagements. What would you say has been the common thread in your experience?
We've worked across 4 continents, sometimes 5, and really the golden thread throughout is helping people to go on a journey of self-awareness and reflection, discovering how they can be more effective leaders of self and how they can be more engaged and how they can live remarkable lives with increased well-being, accomplishment, and reward.
I'm loving this discussion. And Obakeng, I'll give the last question to you, because what I'm hearing from the both of you is the humanity is bleeding into the business and the other way around. Whereas historically, we were told to leave our emotions at the door and almost be robots. What would you say is the one attribute that I need in order to take that work-life balance or the priority forward?
I think the one big thing is to be able to execute in a way that you have conceptualized, in a way that you have planned, in a way that teams have thought about things. Because this is often a huge problem in the workplace, is that people think and conceptualize these many, many things, but they then end up as being pie in the sky. And there's literally no execution. Think about the kind of problems we have in the economy. It's purely because, there's so many great things that we have, great policies, great legislation, but we just do not execute to the extent that we should. So I think for me, in my kind of environment, it's very important that people become operators and people do more. Yes, it's important that we think more, but I think it's also so key that we are able to translate that thinking into critical actions that can be executed timelessly.
Gentlemen, these have been such critical insights. I feel privileged to have been in your company and can't wait for our small business owners to apply these theories into practice. We need to get out of the ivory tower and get our brands into the hearts and minds of all of our clients. Thank you so much for joining us on 9 Yards TV.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for yet another informative 9 Yards TV episode brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate, helping entrepreneurs to go the distance. If you're an entrepreneur or hoping to be one, seeking advice and wanting to hear from the experts, be sure to click like and subscribe below. Until next time, goodbye from me, Refilwe.
Providing employee benefits to your staff does not need to be complicated or expensive. Old Mutual Super Fund Easy is a prepackaged employee benefit solution tailor-made for SMEs. No time-consuming admin, no difficult decisions, no medical tests. Just cost-effective, easy-to-manage risk cover and retirement savings for your staff.